and welcome to Eagle's Might. Before we get started, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an artist. I have been drawing since I can remember. First drawing was about 6 years old, drew the cover from the Three Caballeros. My parents were impressed, and so they encouraged me to keep drawing, and so I did. I drew whatever I watched on TV, like the Ninja Turtles, Looney Tunes, other Disney cartoons. And then just kept on sketching and drawing whatever I could think of. Once I got into middle school, I started trying to make my own comic, Zero the Hero, or Hero Zero, imagining my own characters. As I got older, started drawing Dragon Ball Z, more Ninja Turtles, and trying to draw Marvel. Didn't really do very well. Learned everything on my own. Just watched cartoons and whatever drawings I could. My brother was actually a pretty good artist, and he started drawing Marvel characters, and I learned a little bit from him. But really, I started getting really good at drawing was when I got into college. Took classes in sketching and painting and sculpturing. Sketching, I excelled. I started learning how to do still lifes, plants, fruits, and then people. Painting, did okay. Still have paintings that I hang up in my house that I'm pretty proud of. Sculpturing didn't do good at all, and just left that behind. After I got out of college, I kept on sketching whenever I worked, break time, and had a little bit of downtime. I sketched on paper, whatever paper I could find, used it all up until there was nothing left. Started drawing video game characters, cartoon characters, getting a little bit into Marvel, favorite characters from certain cartoons, like the Powerpuff Girls, the Great Mouse Detective. I then started practicing my still lifes a little bit more and began drawing co-workers. While we'd be on break or had downtime, I would draw them in like 5 minutes. Started turning my co-workers into caricatures, and then started drawing Marvel characters a little bit more detail, other characters more detail from comic magazines and such. And even though I was getting as good as I was, I continued to sketch all the time and just kept practicing at it. Drawing different things, still lives of animals, of TV characters, more comic book characters. Just kept filling up the pages until there was nothing left. Started going on to still lifes again, and then getting into more detailed, skillful drawings, like my favorite here, and just kept on practicing. Only way you'll get better is to just keep practicing. So we were inspired by a YouTuber who began drawing his kids' drawings and then drawing it in his own way. So my son decided to draw a character and have me draw it in my way. So here we are with this character he came up with. Somewhat of a knight kind of character. He has double axes, wearing a dress, some sort.
It's not a dress, it's a kilt! Sicko!
Had his shoulder pads with spikes, his mask with spikes, had a hat that he tried to put on him, but he wasn't sure how to put it on him and ended up just leaving it on the side of his face. But I was able to use that as if the character was missing an eye and use it as a cover. So he decided to make his character into a knight of some kind. And around his legs, he had what appears to be straps. His double axes have spikes on them, which of course wouldn't be very practical. The emblem on his chest, wasn't sure, but I just turned it into a rose. And he has the shoulder spikes, which are always cool. So I had to come up with my version of this character, and this is what I started coming up with. Now first I had to figure out the pose. How was I going to do that? He had him jumping through the air with his arms out, so I figured I'll do the regular superhero pose with his chest popped out, jumping through the wind. And then I decided to put a guard around his neck, just like you see in some of the British soldiers in older movies like Braveheart and such. He put the chainmail on him under his mask, on his legs, like Roman sandal boots, or whatever you call them. The straps, the knee pads, We got the big giant belt buckle and metal guards over his feet. And he has the shirt underneath. He has the long sleeves. He got his long sleeves for whenever he has to hide something up his sleeves.
Look at this. Look at this.
And a little sash going over one shoulder underneath the other arm. Didn't think about putting any kind of medals on it. Didn't think he would be a military man per se. Maybe just some kind of lone warrior holding his double axes. Didn't want to be two double axes. Thought it'd be better to have something different in the other hand, so I put a fireman's axe in his right hand, and in his left the double axe, which I just recently found out is not a very practical weapon, and is not historically accurate either. But we're not looking for historically accurate, are we? We're just drawing for fun. And we got the straps. Growing up, I mostly did pencil. Didn't really worry too much about ink. But as I got older, my skills grew. Got more confident in my drawing. I began practicing with ink. One of the best pens I learned to use, my favorite pens I used was a ballpoint pen. The kind of pens you get for like a dozen for $1. And those ones you can shade with them. You can write thick with it. You can have thick lines with them, thin lines with them. You can do a whole lot with those pens. It's quite amazing what you can do with those. I spent a lot of time sketching and having fun with those pens. But as I went on and grew in skill, I started practicing with more pens, and now I have this kind here, the Faber-Castell. They come in a very thin point, come in brush form. Actually, I really enjoy using these pens. I haven't explored too many, but I do like this one. And I've been able to create a lot with it. I then began, after I started doing a lot better with the sketching, I began practicing with the shading. That took a little while. Learned a lot of that in college, and then eventually got into shading with the pen. It's a little bit harder. I've seen so many other people doing it, professionals, other artists that I knew who knew how to shade very well. It was a little discouraging at first, but eventually I started catching on to it. Then I started looking at other videos about cross-hatching, things like that, before I started drawing this one. And I got a little bit of ideas and practiced a little bit, and figured I'd try it out here and see if it'll work. And so far it doesn't look too bad. I learned about shading and the direction of the light and how to do all that, and began practicing on characters, how the shading would move according to with their body, where the light would fade, where it would be bright, where the shading would fade, where it would be thick, where there would be light, where there wouldn't. Quite a bit of practice, quite a bit of time, but all fun, especially when you love your work. The cross-hatching, tried it before, didn't go along with it, but then seeing how professionals were doing it and how well they were doing, I decided to pick it up again, and it worked out pretty good. I actually ended up spending more time drawing my own characters than I did cartoon characters or Marvel characters, comic book characters, anything like that. I accumulated more than 40 main characters and probably about a dozen or so side characters. Creatures, monsters, things like that. That would just be extra bad guys to go through, during the comics. But it wasn't really enough to just draw the characters. I ended up getting into the writing. Got into use a lot of stories of people that I've heard of, things that I've been through myself, and try to use as much real life storytelling as I could in the characters. Because we know when you create characters that are too vague, it becomes unbelievable or boring. We definitely don't want to create any Karens, any Mary Sues. popping out his chest, jumping through the air, looking real tough, real warrior. Don't know why he didn't draw any pants on him, but he has his leg straps. Sometimes, as we know, we see these characters sometimes running around half naked trying to be warriors. You see that especially with women. One error and they're dead.
I bet you're enjoying this, you naked degenerate!
But that's the problem with the comic industry, is they care more, sometimes they care more about looks than they do practicality. But my style was always more practicality and realistic than it was cartoonish. I started out cartoonish as a kid, but it wasn't enough. The more detail I wanted to put into it, the more I wanted to be realistic, especially once the stories started becoming realistic life stories detailing real life scenarios. Making cartoon characters, those kind of stories wouldn't have fit right. So I decided to draw my characters more on the practical side, with practical kind of weapons and armor, where they looked, personalities. And so all that led me to turning away from cartoon style art to more detailed. Hopefully one day I'll be able to get to the skill like Karl Kopinski. But I am quite happy with the style I have now. This character seems like a very tough fellow, a very religious man.
And they don't think I know a buttload of crap about the gospel, but I do. Okay?
Very religious, tough fellow that would tell you just like it is, wouldn't pull any punches. Now we could probably make a backstory for this guy. Be a very righteous man or crazy religious zealot. He could be the bad guy, good guy, side character that pops in every once in a while to ruin the plan or to annoy somebody or to keep the plot going. Come up with a backstory of how he lost his eye. What's his inspiration? What's his mission? What's his workout regimen? His diet? You think maybe he's a vegan, vegetarian? Maybe he's on a seafood diet? Possibilities are endless when you're making your own character. Which is one of the best parts about being an artist. It's finding the reason why he looks the way he does. Might even be a farmer looking for revenge, since he has those axes. I feel like this video is running on a little too long. Hopefully, if there's next time, it'll be shorter. At least we got the introduction out of the way. Next time we'll be able to get straight to the drawing. Maybe he even has superpowers. Since he has one eye, maybe he has like laser vision. Maybe he can throw the axe and make it come back to him like Mjolnir. Super strength. Flying, perhaps. Maybe he's a great chef. Maybe he has mind powers. Maybe he has psychosomatic.
When you say psychosomatic, you mean like he could start a fire with his thoughts?
No, not at all. It means it's all in his mind.
I'm just saying, sometimes you get a knock on the head, you get special powers. It happens all the time. Read a comic book, okay?
You guys have any ideas? Leave the comments down below. No reason you guys can't give a suggestion or two who this character could be. So now we're getting close to the end, finishing the cross hatching, all the little details. And here we are, from my son's little drawing to this whole new character. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I would like to turn this into a permanent segment. So if you guys like it, give me a thumbs up. Tell me what you think in the comments. I do want to throw my art out there and hopefully get enough fan support to finally get started on my dream to create this universe that I have in my mind. But I do need your support, so if you like it, help me out, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave a comment down in the comment section. That'll help with the algorithm to keep spreading this video around, keep spreading my channel. if you do like and appreciate my style, I'll make some more. And I sincerely want to thank everybody for watching. God bless, and I'll see you later.